Okay, so as you we find yourself now continuing on our story of Darcy Shellside as he is caught in the middle of the Thief Lord Claw's lair, surrounded by several of her minions being after having his hands bound and his weapons taken, found before Claw, the head of this section of the Rat Snakes Guild. She had just given a revelation to Darcy that her uncle is in fact the Sultan of Imperius. And when Darcy had asked a question about that, her only response was, "That's a long story." And we shall pick this up from here, where Darcy is standing before Claw.
I mean, it's not like I don't have time here, lass.
That is true, but perhaps a bit of pro quo then, mister, my friend.
Pro quo, what do you mean there, lass?
I tell you my story, and you answer some questions for me. Does that sound fair to you, my friend?
It depends on what sort of questions you're asking me. It sounds like you're wanting me to do something. So...
Well, there may be a favor involved, but for the time being, let's talk about you first. For the start, you're looking for the ways of all the people that have gone missing, correct, my friend? At least, that is what our spies have been telling us you and your friends have been getting up to.
We've been looking into why people are going down and just upright disappearing there. I figured they may have been connected to sewers for some reason or another. I was actually going to ask one of you lads if they've seen anything down here, but apparently here I am.
Well, this is most fortuitous, my friend, for we too are looking into the disappearances that have been occurring. For several of the people that have been kidnapped happen to be members of the Rat Snakes Guild. And we are also very interested in knowing what happened to our fellow members. But let's say that for the time being, our interests ally.
Well, can you untie me then?
For the time being, let's keep this civil, and I think you're more than free at the moment.
Darcy just look.
Well, mister, I mean, for starters, we know so little about each other, and you haven't quite earned trust to be free in my presence. But let's discuss some basics here, shall we, my friend? You wish to know more. You wish to find the people that have gone missing. We also wish to find out what has happened to our members. So, perhaps we should share our information, yes?
Alright, I see no harm in it.
Very good. So, to be in the spirit of friendship, I will start first with one bit of information, and you shall reciprocate with a piece of your own. Agreed?
Seems fair.
I'm glad we can discuss this. So, to start off, my friend, is simple. The first people taken outside of the slavery were in fact 2 members of the Rat Snakes Guild. Low levels, admittedly, but when they went missing, other things started to happen throughout the city.
Oh, is it my turn?
If you wouldn't so mind. As I said, one piece for one piece.
We've deduced that rats are involved.
Indeed. Well then.
And I mean like actual rats, not...
Ah, that That seems to be a fascinating something to learn. I assume that has something to do with your sewer investigations, then.
Hey,
Interesting. Rats. I wonder what that could mean. In any case, the next part of the information that would be useful for us to tell you is we've gathered through the information we've collected that whatever the purposes of these kidnappings are, have nothing to do with so much something as simple as kidnappings and monetary value, it seems. Apparently, whatever the purpose about these kidnappings is to begin sowing chaos within the city itself.
how'd you find that out?
More simple cases of deduction. High-ranking officials have gone missing, and other Binos too few. They blame each other for these disappearances. Rat Snake Guild members have gone missing, as well as a couple of, as little known to the public, a few watchmen to blame us and pit us against them, it would seem. Someone wants this city to go to war with itself. To destroy itself, perhaps. Now, to be fair, I care very little what happens to the current Sultan. In fact, I would be more than happy to see his head on a pike more than you could imagine. But I do not want this city to burn for it.
Not preferable. A burning city you can't really take much from.
That is only part of the reason, my friend. I was born here and raised here. Believe it or not, despite what you may think, I do care for this city more than you imagine.
Then what do you give back to people, if you don't mind my asking?
Well, it's in donations, of course, secretly, but you can ask around about, say, ask people around for the mysterious donator known as the Golden Paw Donator. You may discover some interesting facts there.
Can I tell if she's lying at this point?
You can roll me a insight check.
Alright, and keep that as a DM one.
Yeah, keep everything DM today so that they don't know what's going on.
Awesome! Once I have a million attack rolls on here. Alright, insight you said, yes?
Insight, yep. Okay. You gather there's some real truth to that. When she speaks about her city, there's some real emotion in there. She cares about the people here.
Alright then. So, particular you wanted to ask me?
Well, you said the rats are involved. How do you believe?
Aye.
And how do you believe these rats are taking people?
From what we've gathered, they're sneaking onto people and they have strange pus on them. We're believing that pus somehow causes the person to wander up in the night and walk off.
That is very fascinating. I will have to make sure my men are on guard for such things from now on. That is very useful, my friend.
Useful enough to get me out of these cuffs? As I just kind of shrug.
Very well. If it will stop you asking, and she nods, and one of the lizard men takes out a key and uncuffs you.
Grab my wrists. You know, if you just wanted to talk, you could have just came up and asked.
Well, for starters, I'm not exactly sure I wanted to make myself publicly known to this area. As you can gather, as I said, I'm a bit of a wanted criminal in this city for more reasons than you think.
Well, I've heard that you're the top shit around here.
Indeed.
So your identity's not that hidden.
Oh, my identity's not hidden at all. But that's besides the point. I'd rather not be out in the public where people can see me. Down here, I control the situation.
Be that.
As I said, this is a fair talk. And as long as you don't do anything foolish, I promise you, you will make it out of here completely unharmed.
Just not like looking around suspect. I'm just gonna
Suspiciously?
Yeah, just can I get a quick evaluation of my surroundings?
Sure, roll me a perception check.
Alright then. Perception check. Boy.
Basically all you can gather is you see a staircase behind you leading up. Take that as you will.
Alright, and there's only just her and 6 other people in here.
Yep, that you know of. You have no idea what is up those stairs. You have no idea what could be up those stairs or where you are.
Alright then.
As she looks over and kind of gives a little bit of an idea, goes, "So tell me, my friend, since we decide to work together, if we're deciding to give a bit more information and work together, how far would you be willing to extend this deal we have?"
Depends what do you need?
It's very simple. When you find out who's ever behind these criminal activities of stealing our people, I want you to tell me about them. So, if necessary, I can come in personally to take care of it.
What, you want? So what, you're asking that I tell you who they are before we go and arrest them?
Well, if you feel like you need to make the arrest at a moment's notice, I suppose I can have some leeway with it. But I would appreciate having a heads up about it, so at the very least I can get my people out of there, if you understand.
Do I feel like she's being truthful here, like she just wants to make sure people don't get hurt in this instance?
Roll me another insight. You're it's hard to read. It seems honest, at least. I mean, you don't have any reason to distrust that fact.
So all you're saying is you just want to make sure you get hurt in the exchange?
I wish to make sure my people get out free and unmolested by the city. As I said, I make sure that I keep my location very secret from everyone.
Oh, so you just want us to ensure that your goons that got kidnapped don't spill the beans?
Yes, but I do wish them to be returned unharmed from that situation.
Oh, of course, I wouldn't think about it.
But indeed, I will not lie that there's some self-interest in it, but I also wish to have my men returned to me alive and healthy. What has occurred to them is not their fault. They should not be in any way harmed for it.
Alright.
What? Is there anything else you have any information on these proceedings that you have learned of interest?
Oh, I know.
Indeed. Anything you wish to share?
Hey, well that was your question now, wasn't it?
Very good. Do you have a question for me then, mister?
Hey, I do. Swift Claws. Know anything about him?
Well, apart from being the most prominent dividers of the, as we say, the dealings of steel, let us say. But if you're wondering if we work with them, I can honestly tell you that's a no. Part of the reason we were a bit on to you at the end, actually. You seem to think we had something to do with the Swift Claws.
You never know who's got connections to whom. I don't think it likely though, considering they kind of oppose your sort of work.
Indeed. Usually their guards are the ones we always have to deal with when we make our bandit attacks. Though we tend to try to leave them alive as much as possible.
Uh-huh. So, know anything about their, shall I say, where they might keep their more sensitive documentation?
Well, I'm not exactly up on their sensitive documentation, but if I would guess, it's probably in a safe in their main office in their home.
Alright then.
Now I believe it's your turn to answer the questions.
Alright, what question do you got?
Well, you said about the rats, and you have talked about this area. I'm curious, though, why are you so interested in the Swiftclaws?
Got a feeling that there might be some sort of action.
You think the Swiftclaws are connected to the kidnappings, then?
Got a hunch. You've nothing else. You've nothing else, they're right bastards. Might, one on there might take something of value.
I would be careful if I were you, my friend. It's a well-guarded place. Someone who is a bit too free with the movement might not come back alive. They would be well within their legal limits, to kill anyone who they caught trespassing on their home.
Hey, but I'm not too concerned about getting away if I need to.
Yeah, fair enough. I suppose, though, with things going on, would you be amenable then to the idea of letting me know when you've found our men?
If I find your men, they're probably gonna find you first before I do. Considering I don't know where to find you at all times.
That's not... That's an easy solution. And she nods, and you see swing behind you, the giant tabaxi female go kind of... as she reaches into a pouch and hands you a little stone.
I look at it, what is it?
The communication stone. Right. Sending stone, so, basically magic walkie-talkie.
Right.
That's connected to my stone, so when you have information, you just have to speak through it to me.
You just want to know when your boys are safe and hidden.
And that would be appreciated. And if you need assistance from me, you have a way of getting in contact then. Agreed?
Agreed.
I'm glad that we are able to come with such an amenable conclusion with each other, my friend.
So, know anything else about these disappearances?
Well, at the moment we have very little else to go on. As I said, we know what everybody else knows for the most part. As I said, though, we believe at least that the main purpose of these assaults is to cause chaos within the city more than anything. To what end? I do not know for certain. We could only guess.
Alright then. Do I feel like she's withholding any...
Roll me an insight check.
I do not trust this bitch, alright? For good reason.
I mean, you gather, if she's holding anything back, you would have no real clue what it would be. I mean, it's hard to say for certain whether she's holding something back or honestly just doesn't know anything. Your biggest, what's the phrase I would be looking for? Your biggest insight to it is it seems like she's being more or less forthright with you, and you can't really imagine anything she's holding back. Might be
Alright,
the best way to describe it.
alright. Alright then. Well, if we're working together on this, do you have any way to get into a swift close estate that doesn't involve actually breaking into a house? Floor plans, that sort of thing.
Now, Miss, my friend, you're getting into business arrangements at this point. Our dealing only
I thought
goes
this is
so
where we're at.
far. That's fair. But that sort of information's expensive.
Well, I mean, if you don't want to help us, find out what's going on in the city, I guess we can try to muster it.
Well, my friend, you seem like you want me to look at the paper. You want to find their papers and go in there and look into it. I have no idea whether the Swift Claws are involved or not. But as I said, giving away that sort of information is costly to us as well. It takes a lot of money to gather that sort of thing. Investments must be taken.
Or I'm just saying, if you really want to help out the cause and bring peace back to the city, a bit of an investment, donation as you put it earlier, would be much appreciated.
You can make a persuasion check, but it's going to be a disadvantage because she looks at you and goes, "Really? And the fact that you said you wished to rob them had nothing to do with it."
Oh. Hey, two birds with one stone.
So you can
disadvantage.
Yeah, disadvantage. Yeah, because you played your other hand with the.
Listen, we're both liars and cheaters. We both know that everything we have to say is taken with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
All right, persuasion.
Yeah.
Not terrible.
No, it's very average. Probably not 300 gold worth average. She kind of scolded you. I'm afraid, since we don't believe that the Swift Claws have anything to do with this directly, and as I said, it would be very costly to do this. I wouldn't be able to give you such things for free. Perhaps if you wish to pay a discount, perhaps would be in order.
Alright, what are you saying for your discount?
Well, let's say 150 gold.
And this is for an way into the house, or this is for the layout of the house?
Oh, this is for the layout of the house. As for a way in, I have no idea how you would do that. That is up to you.
And this layout, reliable information, maybe includes where they could be, say, secret compartments and that.
It would be a blueprint of the house they built. Unfortunately, secret compartments are just that. Secret. If someone had a blueprint of them, they wouldn't be very useful now, would it?
Fair enough.
But as I said, your best bet would be to look in their office or their personal chambers for such things. That is generally where people keep those documents. Close by if it's illegal, as I'm sure you know.
Keep it close to the chest. Tell you what, make it 75 and I'll give you one more piece of information that you might find about these.
She kind of raises an eyebrow. So now
It's
you're
interesting,
trying
I'll give
to
you that much.
deal with me to say that the deal we had before of trading information is no longer valid, my friend.
Hey, you're the one who said we're moving on to actual now.
Well, due to the simple
Give a smile.
fact that... and she kind of smiles back at you. Well, considering our decent ability here, I think... Thinks on it? No. I think we'll just keep the plans then. I think you are already invested in doing this. I see no reason to slow it down in any way. But, my friend, is there any questions you have personally for me? or is your curiosity satiate?
I am kind of curious. You mentioned that you were the daughter of the Sultan, is that correct?
The niece, my friend. The daughter of the previous Sultan and his wife.
Aye, that's right. So how does someone from a high-tighty household like that end up here?
That's
If
very
you don't mind
easy.
my asking.
I suppose it doesn't hurt for another person to know the true story, considering what happened. Tell me, my friend, how much do you know about the history of the city of Imperius?
DM, how much do I know about the history of Imperius?
You can roll me a history check.
Oh boy. Eight.
Well, you know it's a tabaxi city. You know it was one of the earlier cities that the Emperor converted over, and you know it's got slavery.
All I need to know. Let's say I know the ground level worth of.
I see. Fair enough. Well, what you may not be aware of is about 22 years ago, when I was but a small child, my father and mother wanted to reform the city. They wished to remove the slavery trade from it. That, my
Can I tell
friend,
if she's lying?
roll me an insight check.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
She's telling the truth. She's being, once again, very upright about this. There doesn't seem to be any deception about it. And honestly, it's something you could probably look in a history book, and also you would realize that it's something you could look in a book and find out really quickly. Right?
Fair.
It would be on public record. So you figure she's not Donald Trump. She's not gonna lie about something easily referenced.
Alright.
So yeah, it's like, so you gather, no, that could be true.
Alright.
Well, let's just say that some of the lords and merchants of the city didn't like that idea, and neither did my uncle. So they staged a bit of a coup, let's say. And they ended up killing my mother, my father, and my elder brother when they were out of the city. I myself only survived because I had remained home at the time due to a slight illness I had contracted. My uncle would have killed me too, except I was able to flee just in time. I probably would have died out in the wilderness if it wasn't for the Rat Snakes Guild finding me and taking me under their wing. And of course, ever since then, I have devoted myself to only one true purpose. And as she says that, she nods to the two statues beside her. Do you remember what those are?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't remember the god's name, but I remember their domain.
Nemesis. The god is named Nemesis. Or goddess, I should say.
Alright then. So
Well,
let me ask you about.
One joke check here, though. I'll say I'm going to give you a freebie here. Roll me a perception check.
Perception, you say?
Yeah. Okay. I'd say you could, given what you are as well, you do notice she does have a faint, familiar glow you've seen amongst others that would indicate a certain type of profession.
Like similar to mine, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Alright then. Alright, miss. So, you're out for revenge. I'm assuming that means you want to axe your uncle.
I wish to be free of this area. What I really want is the justice my parents were denied. Yet if possible, I might be willing to also make my parents' my wishes come true. Believe it or not, I'm not exactly a fan of slavery myself.
Wait, GM question.
Yes.
I thought the Rats Guild here was known for their part in the slave trade.
No, they're known for their banditry and their stealing and their drug dealing. They're not part of the slave trade. Slave trade is legal, so it's not really a criminal thing, right?
Well, I meant in other parts of the Rats Guild.
Different Rat Guild areas have different policies, actually. Like the Rats, so it's a bit in that sense, a bit like how the lords work out. There is a head, but each area tends to have their own little ideas of how it's run because it's such a big country and spread out so far, and because except apart from very magical and expensive means of teleportation, it's hard to keep everybody in track. So they tend to section coalition. Off. Yeah, it's like a loose coalition under one name. Good way to put it. Hence why there's different heads.
Got it. Well, Miss Clove, I had to be completely honest with you. Not a big fan of that whole slavery business myself.
Well, I'm glad to see we have that in common, my friend.
Aye. Though I don't particularly care for your banditry.
Indeed. I suppose you'd think that the taxes my uncle takes from his citizens are just and free, indeed. As I said, when we banditry attack, we try not to kill anyone unless we're absolutely forced to.
I never said taxes were fair.
It's less about the taxes and more about the bastard merchants that killed my parents. And as I said...
You actually got names? Or do you just have ideas?
No, the names of which merchants are responsible for the death of my parents. There's quite a list. But, there's about a dozen or so.
And let me ask you this then. One last question for you, at least on this.
No, go ahead, my friend.
By which do you mean to conduct your means of revenge?
To be fair, if I was alone with my uncle in a room, I'd be more than happy to kill him. But I'd rather have him executed as the traitor that he is. Any more just way of vengeance. Nemesis is not just the spirit of vengeance, my friend, but of justice in a way as well.
Well then, I think you and I at least have some...
Sorry, you cut out there, Michael?
Oh, I say... Well, at least... I see that at least we got a few things in.
Indeed. Now, since I've been Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, you're a person who seems to see injustice in the world and have your own way of correcting. I always differ a bit, but I can respect what... At least, to some...
Indeed. Now, if you'd be so generous to perhaps be so open and forthright with me, my friend. For example, would you be so kind as to tell me what brought a man like you into such a line of business? You don't seem to be the normal, cutthroat banditry type.
Oh, I call myself more of a daring, roguish type. Looking for a bit more truth and justice in a world where it's not always allowed to flourish by the binds we've put ourselves under through the society that has formed over the last 3,000 years.
A bit critical of you of the Empire, I would see.
I see flaws in it. I see good things in it too, but I see flaws in it, and I think that we're not necessarily given the, shall I say, means of which to correct it.
Perhaps not.
You gotta work outside the book.
I can agree with you on some points with that. But daring, roguish type. She kind of looks over around at the two guys behind you. Is that the sort that wears masks at night, then?
I don't know. Just don't. If that's necessarily what defines the character.
Indeed. Well, I'm glad that you are so forthright. So, I'd like to ask, since we seem to be on the same page about what we both want in the world, I assume that this can go without further embarrassment. Agreed?
Define embarrassment.
Well, we'll stay out of you and your friends' ways, and we'll even forgive the transgression of your recent companion. And in return, you stay out of our way during the investigation as well. And we will exchange information with each other over the following days to discover the truth of everything. To avoid embarrassment, we won't contact each other in person. Agreed?
Agreed. I know a couple of your guys, so I'm sure if I need anything with them.
I'm sure you will. Now, unless there's... Oh,
Well, I was just gonna say, as she's talking, just out of curiosity, I'd like to pop a divine sense and just see if I feel anything off in the area.
sure, pop me the divine sense description, because I don't remember. I gotta read it, obviously, to remember every aspect of it. Presence of strong evil registering your senses like a noxious odor, and good rings out heavenly music in your ears is actually going to open up awareness and detect forces. You don't actually sense any evil in any way. You don't sense anything particular about it. If anything, you're probably closer to getting a ringing in your ears, but it's really faint.
Alright.
Might have to do something with the divine presence of the god statues, you're not sure. Since all the gods are under the god emperor and are one set.
I thought this was an illegal god.
No, this is a legit god. This is a Roman god.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, is it really?
Nemesis is a Roman god.
I did not know that.
Yeah. She is the god of vengeance and justice.
Oh. Alright then. Never mind. This changes my dynamic a bit. I thought this was an... Okay. Anyway.
Oh, fair enough. I thought you... it's a legal god, yes. Of course, something you would be aware of. It's not like the most popularly worshipped one, but it's generally worshipped by those who felt wrong, and it's kind of a vigilante god.
Fair.
Like, in the mythology, just to give you a quick brief, it's the god the other gods send down to punish people who have committed the sins against the gods.
Damn, why am I following this guy? Alright.
Because you didn't ask about it?
I didn't know it existed! Although I do like the idea of, I do like the other guy though. So
yeah.
we'll stick with him.
That's fair.
But anyway, I'll just say to them, I'm like, you don't seem like you're that bad of a person. Tell you what, that information I offered you, I'll give you one on the house.
Indeed.
We have reason to suspect that person doing this might be a vampire.
At that, her eyes kind of raise in almost shock. If that's true, that is very troublesome.
Hey,
A creature
isn't
like
it
that
weird?
could possibly kill hundreds in the city.
Makes sense for why they'd want chaos. Lots of people going missing. Yeah, there's a civil war going on.
I don't think it'll go quite as far as civil war, but...
You understand.
I know what you mean, yes. It could be in a vampire, I suppose. I will definitely keep that in mind, my friend. Something we will both
Maybe.
keep an eye open for. And if it is
Keep
such
your,
a beast, she says, sorry, yeah, I would advise you get my assistance with him. It might be a bit much for you by yourself.
I've got a few friends. I'm sure we can do this.
I hope they are strong. But if you feel secure in this matter, that is your prerogative.
Tell you what, shit goes sideways, we'll make our escape and I'll give you a quick.
Very good.
But
So,
I will ask you though.
yes?
The Rats Guild.
Rat
I know you're
Snakes
part-
Guild.
Rat Snakes. I just call it Rats Guild because it's a lot shorter and Save that.
Indeed. Don't be an... Do you know what a rat snake is, Mr. Darcy? My friend, sorry. You don't know your real name? I keep forgetting what your freaking nom de pure was.
Oh, it was Bonamon.
Bonamon, yes. Mr. Bonamon.
Wait, what was the question again?
See, fuck, it was a, god damn it, now I'm starting to draw a blank of what I was saying. What we were
Right?
talking about.
Oh shit, I probably should have been taking notes the entire time.
Well, we got the session recorded. As he looks over...
Send this to me privately so I can just go, notes, 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 notes.
Yeah, I'll do that for you once we're done.
Thank you.
Claw kind of looks over at you and goes, well, then I suppose the simple... Frick, I can't remember what she was going to ask you.
We were talking about vampires. Well, if shit goes sideways, I'll give her a quick call.
Yeah,
we're gonna feel so stupid. We're gonna feel so stupid when we go back and listen to the recording and go, "Oh, that's what we were talking about."
Yeah, but if for purposes of that, if we do that, we'll pick up and assume we asked that we might. It's like for the purpose of this, so Claw kind of stops. And goes, "I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought." But my friend.
Yeah, no, vampires. Weird as shit, right?
Yes, and dangerous. So be careful. I would hate to
Oh,
see
I
someone
remember
like
what I was
you
gonna
die.
say. Oh, I appreciate that. By the way, so you're a member of the Rat Snakes Guild. You were asking me if I knew what a rat snake was. Oh, the rat snake.
Yeah, you asked if you knew what a rat snake was.
Do I?
Yeah, sure. A rat snake is not a rat. It's a type of snake that is known for eating bird eggs.
So then, I do have a question for you though.
Yes?
You've been with the Rat Snakes Guild for a long time now, yeah?
Since I was a child.
Now, you only touched this sect of it, or are you more invested in the organization as a whole?
To be fair, I care very little for the greater organization of the area, though I do have a couple of friends amongst the other lords. Other ones I despise, to be honest.
Well, if I'm to be completely honest with you, can't say I'm the biggest fan of everything the other sects do.
Yeah, neither
mainly the slavery and whatnot. So I do have a question for you then.
Yes.
If someone were to say, I don't know, get some information and maybe get some associates of theirs, potentially in their ranks, if I somehow got, a way to get them in there. Would you know anyone who'd be interested in seeing certain of that?
Well, it'd be a bit difficult to do without it leading back to me, obviously, but perhaps I could give you names that would help you start such a journey, if that seems to be amenable to you.
That wouldn't be bad. I feel as though you don't, like you said, you're not the biggest fan of the other heads.
Well,
why not just
all of them, but most of them I care little for.
Why not just leave Brand and call yourself something?
She was just gonna say... Oh, sorry.
You go first.
Okay, I was just gonna say, most of them I despise, but Ragnar and Zal were good in their way.
And where do they work?
Ragnar has the most difficult position on our guild. He in fact works in the city of the Raven Lord himself at Raven's Perch. Very risky place to be. You have no idea. That is a city that is probably the most evil place in the world.
Hey, you can tell me that again. I've been there once or twice and
yes.
never a good time.
I suppose that happens when you have the Lord of Assassins and Spies living there.
It's a fucking nightmare. Have you ever been yourself?
Once. Did not care for the visit.
Hey, it's always dark and cloudy there. It's fucking...
Zazagal, though, he lives over at Griffin Rock, the dwarven city.
Would I by chance happen to know that person?
Zazagal?
Yeah.
You wouldn't know him personally. You can roll me a history check if you've heard of him.
13.
Yeah, I'll say you've heard some tales of the head of the Thieves Guild in Griffin Rock, if only because he's fucking kind of a weird guy to be in a Thieves Guild. For a thief, he's rather flamboyantly out there, right? He doesn't really hide.
Do I know anything of his business? Like, is he a slaver? Is he more of...
He's a trainer.
Organized.
He does what would be considered like he's suspected to be a rat snake guild member. Nobody can ever prove anything, but he's in a business somewhat similar to what the Swift Claws are. He's a trainer of warriors. The rumor is a lot of the warriors end up going into the rat snake guild business, but he seems to be more of a legitimate person. Or orc, in this case.
Ah, okay.
But,
so I have to ask you then.
Yes?
So I have to ask you then. If you were to say, oh, I don't know, if the rest of the Rat Snake Guild were to suddenly just not be around anymore beside those 2 six, how upset would you?
To be honest, I would not be upset at all. Perhaps with it, we could reform the Rat Snakes Guild into something a bit better for the world.
Less banditry and drug dealing, more robbing the rich and maybe giving back to the poor.
Perhaps. Let's say more legitimate business.
Can I tell if she's being truthful?
Roll me an insight.
I still don't trust her, for probably good reason.
You gather when she says legitimate businesses, she's not talking like... I mean, there's still a thief's guild, and robbing from the rich and giving to the poor is probably a little simplistic to sum it up, but you gather that they wouldn't hurt the poor people, right? They would probably be doing more what would be considered white-collar crimes.
Like moving money around, doing finances and whatnot.
Yeah, probably more that area if they were going to keep illegal activity up. Not hurting people, but, you know, they're still criminals. Same as you have a criminal background.
Oh, yeah. Do I, to my own private, organization, do I think they would actually probably be able to work with this specific sect of the Thieves Guild, just based on what I've seen so far?
I'd say based off what you've seen of Claw, your organization and her would at least be able to coincide. You're uncertain how closely they could coincide, because, I mean, one meeting in a dark room when you've been tied up and under your... But giving
Listen,
back...
that's a standard hello in my business.
Fair enough. To be fair, though, given what she's told you, given that you know her story and you suspect it to be completely true, you have no reason to doubt she's in fact by definition, the rightful heir to this city, to the rightful sultaness, right? You have suspicion that you possibly could work with her sect of the Rat Snakes Guild. Do what you guys want to do. It's possible. It's a possibility.
All right. I'll look at her and I'll just say, tell you what, I think this has been a very, shall we say, productive meeting.
I think so too. So are you ready to leave now, my friend, or did you have any other questions?
If I got any more questions, I'll give you a quick call and ask you. But I do have one thing I do want to propose to you.
So soon? She kind of gives you a coy smile.
I mean,
ahead, my friend.
I mean, listen, if you take me out to a nice date, show me a good time afterwards, we'll see about that. But, for this moment, there are slaves taken earlier. The first one's missing, yeah?
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was saying, there were slaves taken earlier. First ones go missing, yeah?
Oh, slaves, yes. Yes, indeed. The slaves were taken earlier.
Given your disposition towards their plight, if I were to, say, send your boys back to you, unharmed, hopefully, if they took them with you, if they took those folks with them, could you do anything for them? Say, move them somewhere safe, maybe find one of the high priestesses who might be willing to, you know, help them out.
I could say about helping you, but perhaps you yourself might be able to do something for them. I have a feeling since you are against the of slavery, we have someone we actually do work with in the city itself that may be of amenable help to you.
I don't really give them. I had to talk to them myself.
Yes.
I'm assuming you're talking about the high priestess of the area, priestess, insert name here, please DM.
She laughs at that, actually. No. You'll want to go to Mix.
Mixed? Who's Mix?
Oh, you haven't heard of Mix Magic Mall?
Wait, that Mix? The one who's been building that weird contraption of his, that mall thing?
Yes, that one indeed. He does have a bit of a side business, it seems, freeing slaves, but it's something a bit of a hush-hush thing.
I mean, I could see why, but... Okay, I have to ask you then, that mall, what do you think about it? I've been having a huge debate about this.
She kind of gives I'm not sure what you mean by what do you mean, what do I think? Do you mean, do I think that it is a good idea, or do you mean, what do I think of it personally?
Both, at this point. I've been trying... Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. The idea to me sounds ridiculous. Can you imagine how hot and stuffy it's going to get in there? Like, it's ridiculous. Besides, it's already a working bazaar. Why not just use that?
That is true. I can see your point by it, which admittedly some of the merchants are against. And she kind of smiles. But again, as I said, whatever fucks over most of those merchants is good by me.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, just as a... Okay, let me put it to you this way. If those merchants weren't such asshats, and they built their mall, and the bazaar was still there, which would you go to?
She kind of thinks about it, honestly. I'm not sure. I suppose the bazaar is better for vegetables, fruits, mundane items, but I have to admit that the one time I actually visited the mall, it was unique. She kind of says it in a way like how you describe like that weird relative you have. Right?
I'll have to check it out. Wait, I thought they were making it. It's done?
Well, sections of it have been finished, and there are some areas open for business within it, yes.
Oh. I'll just turn over to Swing. I'm like, what about you?
The Swing's kind of like, I can't fucking stand those who work there. She kind of grumbles.
The bazaar or the mall?
The mall. They are weird.
Check it out.
It's a bit something you might have to... Claw kind of cuts it. It's a bit something you'll have to experience for yourself. A bit hard to explain.
Tell you what.
I wouldn't worry about the stuffiness of it. Nick has some very interesting ways to make the place more habitable.
Oh, I've got to see this. Alright. Now, quick question for you.
Of course.
Sorry, I know this meeting's been going on for so long, but I just have... Well, I'm here, you know? Instead of having to call you up when you're in the shower or something or taking a shit.
How thoughtful.
I mean, it's what I'm afraid of doing, because I'm not gonna lie, I've had people try to find me, like, call me, you know, when I'm taking a shit. I'm just like, oh, should I answer? Should I not? Should I get back to them?
She raises her hand like, I understand. But anyways, your question.
So, this Mick guy, what does he? How does he? What is his? How do I get?
God, pretty simple from what I know. You would go to his mod, ask one of his minions if you could go see him, and he should let you in.
What sounds rather easy.
It's not very difficult. Mick is a bit, uh, strange, and he does have a very odd Aarakocra partner with him that, is also a bit, how to put it? Excitable, perhaps is the word.
Lass, I'm not gonna lie to you. Excitable has basically summed up the last 3 or so days of my life.
Indeed. Like I said, we've kept an eye on your party, and you have some, well, let's be frank, strange bedfellows at the moment.
Darcy just gets this look of just hit the. He's just drained. It's like, he's like, they're not bad people. They're just. They're.
Unique?
That's a very good word for it, and I'm somewhat afraid one of them is gonna kill me at some point.
Indeed. Which one are you afraid of?
Give it a 5 copper if you can guess it.
Well, judging by the oddities of your group and the 1 or 2 conversations my men were over here, I think the safe bet would be on the spider lass.
A little bit, but I'm actually more afraid of the kobold.
Really? We've barely heard
She's too
anything
quiet.
from her.
That's why I'm afraid. You know, with the lass, you know, you're just like, you know, she said she was thinking about killing me. Well, she implied she was thinking about killing me, which is, you know, kind of offsetting. But then, you know, the other one hasn't said a damn word, you know, it's just like, I don't know if I can, don't know how I'd feel about that.
I suppose I can understand that. They are probably very dangerous, so yes, I would keep my eyes open on both of them. But, as I said, your companions are for you to help you. And of course, I believe we keep most of our conversation here private, indeed?
Oh, of course. My friends ask, I'll just tell them I was out scrounging.
That seems fair. But, and she gives some thought, if you believe that they may be trustworthy enough to assist in anything we are doing in the future, I may be able to arrange a meeting with all of you.
I'm not sure if my companions, so shall I say, agreeable as I am.
Well, at least
To be fair, I've only known them for a couple of days.
You've almost known them as long as me, then. Very well. But, for my friend, I think at this moment we have agreements then.
Hey, I'll let you know when your boys are heading home. I'll let you know when your boys are heading home. If you've got any more questions, I'll give you a call, and we'll keep each other up to date to see if anything particularly odd.
Indeed. I think this has gone very well. Now, if you are ready to leave.
Oh, but I must impart upon you one gift, as you have given me one yourself.
Very good.
And I'll unscrew my my water skin.
Okay.
And I will use the one spell. You know which spell I'm talking about. The only spell that could really apply here. And I will just make a sort of ice-shaped rose.
She kind of goes, well, isn't that charming?
What are you?
She kind of goes up and takes it. That is quite nice of you, my friend.
You could say it's quite ice of me.
I see. Well...
Do I at least get to make the performance check?
Sure, but that's a disadvantage for that one.
Ah, come on, that was good. That was a good one. You know it.
That was very ice of me. Man, that is Batman, Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger pun.
It's so bad it goes back to being good. Booyah!
Booyah,
Why
she
can't I
goes-
roll this good like for the important shit?
Yeah, it's like, very well, my friend. That was very good. But I'm afraid as much as... Oh, sorry.
Just to be fair to you, that's gonna melt in about an hour.
I'm sure it will. But for the time being, that was very sweet of you. Now, she kind of looks up at her. She was like, I'm afraid we can't let you know where we live. You understand, of course, right?
I do.
So, she nods and Swing pulls out a jug of water. You know what this is. After you drink it, you will go to sleep, and you will simply awaken back, let's say back at the inn we left you at. Is that amenable to you, or would you rather be dropped somewhere else off?
I mean, I do have a question.
Very well.
Yeah, they gotta give me back one of my things, correct?
They will be returned to you as soon as you are out of here, my friend.
I look at her, I'm like, I don't like doing this, by the way. Grab the jug.
Okay. I am sure that it is a bit troublesome, but as I said, people like us must keep our secrets, agreed?
I already drank.
Okay, plop. you just grab the jug. Like the baby. And you go fall asleep, and you wake up a few hours later, and it is nighttime, and you are passed out on top of a table in the bar, the Cross Daggers Tavern, with your head stuck on a plate. Where you have your weapons and supplies are returned to you, and there's like a little bit of like a fresh, like what looks like a bit of a fresh meal ready for you, sitting on your table with you.
Oh, why is my hangover back? Okay. I'm assuming it also comes with a complimentary pint of ale.
Yep.
That's what I'm drinking.
You slam back your ale. You are good to go. Back at the Cross Daggers, where you had one speed. Happy to go. Oops.
Yeah.
And with there, that's a good spot to end our session.
All right then.